Hello, my name is Matthias, and welcome to the FPL Scope and the weekly Wildcard draft for Game Week 22, where we're going to take a look at what I think is the best squad to have in Fantasy Premier League going forward in the next few game weeks. As always, or I say as always, it's been a long time since I made one of these videos because I've been out with a broken arm basically, but now I'm doing a lot better. I can actually move my arms and hands a little bit more. Recovered from surgery and stuff, so yeah, really happy to get back into the swing of things with FPL. And now we have one game week followed by another pretty quickly. We have the midweek games now, which are not even finished. I just finished watching the Wednesday games. We still have 2 more matches left to play on the Thursday, but I'm going to try to make a wildcard draft before that anyway, because I need to make another video for tomorrow basically. So yeah, with the team selection coming out tomorrow. So in this video, I'm going to go through the drafts, the current wildcard draft. I don't think you should use your wildcard now if you have it, because I think it's going to be very useful later on in the season. But just in case you are using it for whatever reason, or if you want to know which players are the best players to have currently in FPL, I'm here to guide you, because in this draft, I'm going to select players, as I usually do, in the style of an NFL or NBA type of draft, where I select players from number 1 through number 15 with the 15-man squad that I'm going to select. And then the number 1 pick is going to be the player that I think is the most important player to have currently in FPL. And then number 15th pick is obviously going to be the player that I'm the least certain of having in my squad, basically. So yeah, let's just go into it with the number 1 pick as always. And yeah, as always, it is going to be Mohamed Salah. Double game week coming up. He is still in tremendous form, even though he blanked for the 3rd time this season. Out of 21 matches, he's blanked 3 times, twice against Nottingham Forest, but he was really close to scoring once again, and he's just always amongst the chances. Liverpool always seem to be able to score a goal or 2 at least, or maybe in 3 or 4 sometimes as well. So yeah, Salah still clearly number 1, but maybe not the clear number 1 captaincy pick anymore. I've selected him as captain this past game week, and I've had to pay for it. As you can see from my current rank, I'm down to 170k, but Salah is still a tremendous option, and I still think he might be the best captain's option even next week against Brentford away, even though there are some good other candidates, as we'll get to pretty soon, because we have number 2, which is going to be Cole Palmer, playing at home against Wolves this game week, which is not really the best defense. We saw that with Isak being able to score twice and get an assist against Wolves, because that defense is looking terrible, even under the new manager. So yeah, this could potentially be a good game week to captain Palmer, and it's just a good reason to have Palmer in general for the long haul, because Chelsea have really good fixtures up until game week 30 anyway, where most people will be looking to wildcard. But obviously, since this is a wildcard draft, you have to assume that you're wildcarding in this game week for game week 22, and you don't have the wildcard later on in the season. But regardless, Palmer should be really good value across the season. He's been tremendous this whole season, and even though he got a huge price rise at this before this campaign, he is still worth the price and more, basically. And he keeps getting points. Really nice, well-taken goal in this past match as well, even though Chelsea lost the lead again. They finally got a 2-2 draw from it, but Palmer still got 10 points because he is a bonus machine on top of being able to score an assist and all that stuff. So yeah, Palmer is still a really strong candidate to have in your team. I have bumped him up from number 3 to number 2 because he has some better fixtures than number three this game week and number 2 last game week, which is going to be Alexander Isak, who's still obviously tremendous player. He's been in amazing form, scored in 8 games in a row now in the Premier League. He's closing in to that record from Jamie Vardy back in a couple of seasons back when they actually won the league. I think Vardy had 11 games in a row where he scored goals, and now Isak has 8 games in a row where he scored goals. So 9 against Bournemouth, 10 against Southampton, 11 against Fulham. He can equal the record of Vardy potentially, and I wouldn't put it past them, especially against Southampton. They should be able to do it. Bournemouth as well, not the best fixture, both Bournemouth and Fulham. They are pretty good teams, but there are also teams that Newcastle can easily beat at this moment in time, because Newcastle are flying. They are the best team currently in the Premier League in terms of form, and yeah, it seems like nothing is stopping them, and 2 of those games are at home, 1 of those games are away, but it is against Southampton. So it's looking really good for Isak and attacking players from Newcastle in general. And yeah, Isak is fantastic. I probably shouldn't have bumped him down now that I'm talking about him. But yeah, these 3 players, regardless, Salah, Palmer, Isak, are just mainstays in FPL. No reason to sell them. They are all probably underpriced, even Salah. Potentially not underpriced Salah, but either way, he is still a fantastic player. Isak is tremendous. He's shown that He's shown why everyone had Isak at the start of the season. Palmer has sort of shown why everyone had Nkunku at the start of the season as well, because we expected Nkunku to play in that position. So yeah, these 3 players have been fantastic all season, and they're going to be fantastic for the rest of the season as well. So yeah, any which way you want to pick them, they all should be in your squad regardless. So yeah, top 3 picks: Salah, Isak, Palmer. Number 4 is Anthony Gordon, who's also been absolutely tremendous alongside the whole Newcastle squad basically. Lately, scored again against Wolves from Isak assist. He was close to getting an assist for the first goal for Isak as well, but there were some deflections and weird stuff happening there that made it not an assist for Gordon. But Gordon and Isak are basically the 2 main men of the Newcastle attack, and they will be involved in most goals that they score. So it is very good to have both of them, considering the form that Newcastle are in, and also the fixtures are pretty decent, especially for such a good home team like Newcastle. Even the Man City game in 4 game weeks from now, that's going to be a decent game week for attackers, because we've seen Man City just collapse and concede goals left and right. So Gordon and Isak really good for the next 4 game weeks, especially as well. But after that, they get some tougher-ish fixtures, but still really good players to have for the long haul. Even if you want a free hit in game week 29 when they most likely blank, that is a really good player to have as well in Gordon. So yeah, Gordon, absolutely tremendous. He's someone that I'm looking potentially into getting myself, but the fixtures are drying up a little bit. Like, they are still good, but they're not as good as they have been for the past like 6-7 game weeks, where Gordon has been absolutely fantastic alongside Isak and alongside the whole Newcastle squad. So yeah, Newcastle are really a team to invest in, and that goes for the defenders as well. We have Lewis Hall, who's now up to, I think, 3rd place overall among defenders this season. He is playing really, really well. He's taking set pieces, or corners at least, for Newcastle, super attacking, and Newcastle are keeping clean sheets seemingly every game now as well. So Hall is also a tremendous player to have. So tripling up on Newcastle definitely makes sense, even though they're most likely going to blank in game 29. You can work your way around that. Either you can save up transfers, or you can use your free hit in game 29 to avoid basically having 3 Newcastle players that are not playing that game week. So we do expect Newcastle to beat Arsenal in the cup and go through to the final, and then not be able to play in game 29. But regardless of that, they have good fixtures in the next 4, in tremendous form, so you just have to triple up, and Hall has been the best defender in FPL the last like 6, 7, 8 game weeks, and there's really no reason not to pick him either, especially if you're on a wildcard. If you're doing regular transfers, maybe he's not like the highest priority, but if you need a new defender, he's probably the one I would go with currently. So that's why he's number 5 pick in this draft. Number 6, we have Chris Wood. Again, another player that has been absolutely tremendous, especially the last few games now. He had a little bit of a dry spell for a couple games, but now he's back into form, and now he's facing Southampton at home after scoring against Liverpool, which is fantastic. Wood is just a really clinical striker. He's shown that all season. Doesn't really need many chances to score, and he gets that 1 chance per game, and he scores that 1 chance per game, it seems like, as well. So he usually gets bonus points when he does that as well, so he's just a tremendous player to have. Southampton is good, or is a good fixture. Southampton are not good, but that is a good fixture. Bournemouth away is pretty tough, but then Brighton at home is also pretty good for an attacking player. So next few games are pretty good for Forest, but they do get some tougher fixtures there from Fulham away onwards. So yeah, for the short term, he's still really good. That's why I'm not like completely sold on him. That's why I didn't have him last game week when he had Liverpool and then the easier games. But now that he's past Liverpool and scored against Liverpool as well, he just keeps scoring, keeps proving me wrong, and I just have to have him in the squad basically. So he comes in at number 6 because, yeah, he's just been that good this whole season. If you've had him from game week 1 until now, congrats. You've done really, really well. That's what I should have done, or most people should have done, because he's been tremendous value for money all season. And he's probably going to continue to do that, because Nottingham Forest are for real. They have a really good team. Show that against Liverpool. It was a bit of a fluke result, I guess. Like, Liverpool should have won that game with all the chances that they had in the end. But Nottingham Forest are no joke, and they keep taking the lead. They keep keeping the clean sheet as well. And Wood keeps getting bonus points and scoring goals. So, yeah, he's a fantastic player to have in FPL. Number 7, we have Daniel Muñoz from Palace. He finally got some returns now as well. Got a clean sheet in the game against Leicester. And the fixtures are really, really good for Palace, even beyond game week 29, I think. Like a couple games there, or up until game week 30 at least. They have really good fixtures. Muñoz still super attacking, was close to getting an assist, but Mateta fluffed the finish. Was a bit of a lucky assist, but it's just because Muñoz is high up and pressing and stuff that he gets into those positions to get lucky assists. And potentially a goal as well, which we're still looking for. But yeah, decent fixtures coming up now. No particularly super tough opponents. West Ham, Brentford, Man United, Everton. I think all 4 teams are in the bottom half of the table. So yeah, pretty good fixtures for Muñoz. He's super attacking and he has some decent defensive clean sheet potential as well. So yeah, he's a really solid player to have in FPL currently. Not too pricey either. And yeah, the super attacking part of him is the most interesting thing about him as well. So yeah, he comes in at number 7. Number 8, we have Anthony Robinson, who has, again, impressed. Kind of lucky last game week, I should say. He did get 2 assists against West Ham, but both assists were just passes to Iwobi, who crossed it into the box, and then the attacking player missed the finish, basically, and fooled Fabianski in the goal. So Iwobi got 2 goals, kind of fluky, and Robinson got 2 assists, kind of fluky. But again, like I said with Muñoz, he's so high up the pitch. He's way more attacking than Castagne on the other side. He's super nailed. He's super good. He's a bonus machine as well, Robinson. So all that in mind, he is worth the price. That's why he's into the team now. You can see he has his name is in green, which means that he wasn't in the squad last time around. That's because I had Anderson in the squad instead. But Robinson is just, yeah, he's just, the attacking threat is worth this extra 0.7 in my opinion, especially now that I have some more funds with this team. So yeah, Robinson's still good. The fixtures are going to get a bit tougher, as you can see. But even then, Man United and Nottingham Forest at home, those are 2 matches that Fulham can keep clean sheets in. Newcastle away is going to be really tough, but that's a game where you can just bench Robinson. So yeah, I think he's still a really good player to have. That's even the double game week where you want to play Mykolenko anyway. So and that's a bit of a spoiler to who I'm gonna have eventually. But you want to play other players in that game week anyway, so it doesn't really matter that he has a tough fixture in that game week. So in game week 24, but yeah, Robinson. Terrific player, super offensive, attacking. Yes, a bit of a lucky double assist this past game week, but he has 9 assists for a reason. He is a really good attacking player. He keeps bombing forward, whether they play with a back 4 or whether they play with a back like as a wing back in a like back 3, back 5 system. He's super attacking and super good and just a fantastic player overall. And who knows, maybe in January, maybe he goes to Liverpool, maybe he becomes the starting left back for Liverpool as well for the double game week in game 24. Who knows, that could happen. Maybe he plays for Leicester, then Leicester game for Fulham, and then he switches to Liverpool after that. Could potentially happen, but I think Fulham will keep him because he is such an important player for them. So yeah, he comes in at number 8. Number 9, we have Morgan Rogers, who got an assist against Everton and has some pretty good fixtures going forward. Everton away was not the easiest fixture, but he did manage to get a goal return anyway. Arsenal away now is not the best. You can definitely bench him for that game. But after that, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Ipswich at home. 3 games where Rogers can really do some damage. So yeah, they're still looking really good, Aston Villa. There's still not really that many games in between now either. Aston Villa are through in the Cup, in the FA Cup, and they're out of the League Cup, obviously. But yeah, they don't have as many matches now as they had earlier in the season when Rogers still played 90 minutes in seemingly every game. He starts every single game he's available for, basically, under Unai Emery, even with the new signing of Daniel Malen, I think, from Dortmund. I don't think that should put Rogers under any threat either, because he is basically the most important player, it seems like, for Unai Emery. So he's going to keep playing. He's going to be attacking still. We know his skills, how good he is as a player. He has really good fixtures, so there's really no reason not to go with Rogers, in my opinion. There are some decent, cheaper midfielders. Who knows what Amad Diallo will do against Southampton. I'm recording this before he plays against Southampton, so maybe Amad Diallo looks absolutely amazing and you want to get him. And Fernandes is still a good option, especially now that Lavia is back in the team. He's pushing further forward. There are some good, cheaper priced midfielders. Ismail Assar is another one who got an assist this past game week, but I think Rogers is just the best of the bunch because we know he plays for a really good team, or at least, like, ideally they are a really good team. They have a lot of fronts that they play at, so that means that they haven't had the best league results this season, but they're still one of the top 6 teams, I think, in my opinion, in the Premier League. He plays every single minute for them, and he is a fantastic player. So yeah, Rogers comes in at number 9. Number 10 is Jean-Philippe Mateta, who scored this past, or this current game week, I should say, because we're in the middle of the game week. Still has really good fixtures coming up as well, Mateta, and he's proven that he is a good striker, and he, kind of like last season, he started off a bit slow in that season as well, and then he just went completely mad towards the end of the season and scored so many goals, and finished up being one of the best strikers to have in FPL in the latter half of last season. And I think the same can sort of happen now. Crystal Palace are finding their footing in the league finally after struggling at the start of the season. kind of like Mateta, and I think he is now also started the season. There was more like a rotation between him and Nketiah for who was the striker. Now it's pretty clear that Mateta is just the first choice. He's just a better striker than Nketiah, straight up. So yeah, he's a really good player, has really nice fixtures. West Ham conceded a lot of goals. Brentford conceded a lot of goals, especially away from home. I think that's a pretty good fixture for Mateta as well. Brentford are a team that likes to set up pretty defensively when they are sort of not expected to be the best team in the game, but against Crystal Palace, I think Brentford will like to try to push on, and that will actually be quite an open game for Mateta in my opinion. Then Man United away, which you can always score against Man United, and then Everton at home, which is still also a pretty good fixture, even with David Moyes coming in for Sean Dyche. So yeah, Mateta is a really good player to have, and there's like quite a few strikers to choose from, but I think Mateta is the best out of the rest, and he keeps his place in the team, and is the number 10 pick for that reason. Number 11, we have Ibrahima Konaté from Liverpool. I think just like the price difference between him and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think it's worth it to have Konaté, especially seeing as it's pretty close to the double game week. The thing with Konaté is always the injury risk, but we just need him now for like a couple game weeks at least, and then you could sell him after the double game week potentially. But that's the main draw for Konaté. He has some good fixtures before and after that as well. Brentford away isn't the best fixture, but we know Liverpool can keep a clean sheet against any team. So yeah, he's a really solid player to have. Also a lot cheaper than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he still has some goal threat, even though he's not as attacking as Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously. But yeah, still a really solid and good pick. And yeah, the Liverpool double game week means that you want at least 2 Liverpool players. But then you want to keep that third Liverpool spot open, in my opinion, potentially for the double game week to pick another player. Maybe next week I'll have another Liverpool player on if it seems like someone is a good option, but for now I think 2 is the sweet spot. You can have 2, and then you can actually add Arne Slot as the assistant manager in GW24 if you want to. I personally don't think that's the best idea, but go for it if you think that's good. Or you can go with someone like Alisson in goal, you can go with Jota, you can go with Gakpo. There's a lot of different options, but having 2 Liverpool 2 Liverpool players, Trent is also another really good option, obviously. But having 2 Liverpool players now, I think is the correct amount, and I think Konaté is just slightly better value than Trent at the moment, with just a few game weeks leading up to the double game week in GW24. So yeah, Konaté is at number 11. Number 12, we have Bruno Fernandes, and it's a bit unfair for him. He's dropped from number 7 last week to number 12 this week without even playing, because I'm recording this before the Southampton game. But that's also main part of why he has dropped a bit in the rankings, because he had Southampton at home, and for next game week he's not going to have that fixture. So yeah, that was like one of the main selling points of Fernandes. But yeah, he might smash it again. He is a tremendous option, and you can see from the fixtures, really good fixtures now. So maybe I'm selling a bit short with him being number 12. But he's definitely a really good player to have, and he's shown himself to be really capable under Amorim, or ever since Ten Hag got fired actually, and both under Van Nistelrooy and under Amorim now. He's looked much more like the version that was the one joining Man United back in the day and scored so many points and was the best FPL player basically for a little while there. So yeah, Fernandes is still tremendous, takes penalties obviously, takes some set pieces, even though he's pretty bad at corners, he takes them at least most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of routes to points for Fernandes. So still a really good pick, but the Southampton game being finished now means that they have less favorable games. They still have really good fixtures, but not as good as they looked before the Southampton game. So yeah, he's dropped down a little bit, but he's still in the squad because he's still a fantastic player to have. And maybe he scores a hat-trick against Southampton and everyone needs him, and he's going to jump up the rankings for the next weekly wildcard draft. But we'll see what happens with him in the game against Southampton and in the game against Brighton before I make my decision for the next weekly wildcard draft, basically. But for this one, he is number 12. Number 13, we have Mykolenko. I did say that earlier in the video that I think he's a nice option to have for the double game week, especially Leicester at home is a really good fixture. Liverpool is just a bonus game in that in the game week 24, which is going to be a double for Everton. So I think just having a player for Everton there is nice to do, especially on the wildcard. Has like decent, okay-ish maybe fixtures before and after. We'll see what happens with Everton under David Moyes, and if they keep their defensive solidity that they had under Dyche. If they do expand a bit more offensively, we've seen Mykolenko in the past have some decent runs in terms of scoring goals and being attacking, so maybe that could be a benefit from getting Moyes as manager. We'll see what happens there. But he's basically just a cheap option to have on the bench and then play for the double game week. And that's pretty much what you want for Mykolenko. He's a really good utility player. I've had him for most of the season, and he's been a really nice player to have. Off the bench, whenever I've started him, he's gotten decent points. And a lot of times when I've benched him, he's gotten decent points as well. So yeah, Mykolenko is just a really nice player to have, who you can start in any game week, basically, because Everton can't keep a clean sheet in a lot of games as well. So yeah, Mykolenko is still a really good player, comes in at number 13, and is the final man of the outfield players. Means we're left with 2 goalkeepers, because I'm not really like super fussed about the goalkeepers. There's not really any super standout ones. But I've gone with Sels once again. Nottingham Forest are just really good, and I haven't found the place for a Nottingham Forest defender in terms of Milenkovic or Aina or Murillo or something like that. So Sels should do. He has Southampton home now, which is a really nice fixture. And Nottingham Forest have proven themselves this season to be a really good defensive side and really good side in general, a really good team. So yeah, Sels is still my favorite. He's a bit expensive though, but yeah, I think it's worth it. He's been the best goalkeeper so far in FPL. And I'm still really annoyed that I picked Sanchez over Sels when I wildcarded in Game Week 6. That has cost me a lot of points through the season. But yeah, if I was wildcarding today, I would select Sels as my goalkeeper, but it's not really too much in it. You could go with Pickford to have another doubler from Everton. Go with Alisson as well if you want to have another doubler for Liverpool. Or you could go with someone else, I guess, in goal. Someone like Henderson who has good fixtures and is pretty cheap, especially if you're not going with Muñoz. That could be an option as well. So yeah, you could go with Mykolenko and Henderson rather than Sels and Muñoz, but I really like the offensive capabilities of Muñoz, and Sels has been just a tremendous goalkeeper. He's the goalkeeper of the season so far. So yeah, he comes in at number 14 in this wildcard draft. And then finally, Fabianski, as he usually is, number 15. He's just the best backup goalkeeper to have, basically, because he is still really cheap, like 4.1, I think he is. He's going to start for West Ham. He's been much better than Areola all season, so I don't really expect Areola to step in as the number 1 goalkeeper, even though Potter has taken over in charge of West Ham. I know Potter has like a bit of a history of switching goalkeepers and stuff. I think he did that with Brighton as well, where he gave Jason Steele a chance all of a sudden over Sanchez, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Fabianski is going to be pretty secure because Areola has just been really bad this season. So yeah, Fabianski should be secure as a backup goalkeeper. If not, then Areola is pretty much the same price. But yeah, I don't think you should have any worries about Fabianski not being the starting goalkeeper for the rest of the season for West Ham. So yeah, he comes in at number 15. So that is the full squad of 15 players. You can see there are 3 new players with green names: Robinson, Konaté, and Wood. And that means that 3 players have dropped out since last time. So I'm going to talk about those 3 guys before I talk about 3 players that were close to making the squad, or at least I considered making the squad. Or 3 players that I considered having in the squad, I guess, but didn't. But first, let's go to the dropped players. 3 out of them, and 2 of them plays for similar teams to the players that have replaced them. I've basically done a bit of a switcheroo here. I've done Trent Alexander-Arnold down to Konaté, and that gives you enough money to do Anderson up to Robinson. I think that's just a better combo. It's also cheaper in total to have Konaté and Robinson rather than Trent and Anderson. So yeah, I think that's just a better combination. Doesn't really spend too much on defense. You get Robinson, who's a really good attacking threat and who's not going to lose his place, like Castagne, for example. He's also way more attacking than someone like Anderson. So yeah, I think that's just a better way to do it. And with the extra money in attack, you can also upgrade João Pedro to Chris Wood, which I've done. So that means João Pedro also drops out of the squad. João Pedro is still a good player. He hasn't played yet as I'm recording this. Maybe he has like a really fantastic game against Ipswich. Maybe he's out injured and he's actually out for longer. He's back in training now though, so I think he's going to start and do decently, especially with Welbeck back now. So João Pedro is not a bad pick by any means, but I think Wood is just like the player you have to go with now because he's been so consistent and has Southampton at home. So yeah, and even Mateta as well. He's proven himself lately, and like I said when I made the case for Mateta earlier, he potentially has a really good end of the season like he did last season. So yeah, João Pedro drops out, but I still think he's a decent option. I don't think there's any need to sell him if you have him in your team. But if I was wildcarding, I would select Isak, Wood, and Mateta as my strikers currently. So those are the dropped players. Now finally, let's talk about the 3 players on the cusp, 3 players that I have considered at least, that have looked decent and are decent options for different reasons. So let's go through them as well. I have 1 forward, 1 midfielder, and 1 defender, which I'm going to try to stick with. But sometimes there are just a lot of good midfielders that you want to choose. Sometimes there's a lot of good forwards. Sometimes even there are a lot of good defenders to choose from, but I'm going to try to select a bit of a variety there for anyone that needs any more options. So yeah, the 3 players on the cusp. Let's start with the forward, which is going to be Cody Gakpo, who's played super consistently for Liverpool lately. I think Luis Diaz is way more of likely player to be dropped if Liverpool change their starting lineup. But yeah, Gakpo has been amazing. He is listed as a forward, which is not the best in terms of FPL because he loses 1 point for each goal. But that also means that for each goal he scores, he has a better chance of getting bonus points as well. So it sort of evens itself out a little bit there. So Gakpo's a really good player to consider, obviously for the double game week especially, but Brentford away, Ipswich at home, and then Wolves at home after the double game week as well. Pretty good fixtures for an attacker there, so you might want to double up on the Liverpool attack now and be a bit ahead of the curve. And I think Gakpo is going to be pretty safe in the squad. He's played a lot of games lately, and like I said, Luis Diaz is more susceptible to be dropped if Liverpool make some changes to the starting lineup. And I say that because Diogo Jota came on and scored the goal against Nottingham Forest, as he usually does when I don't want Liverpool to score, but I do have Salah as captain. That's usually when Jota steps up and scores the goal anyway, leaving me high and dry. But Jota is also someone that I'm really enamored with, especially for a double game week. I feel like he's going to start one of the games at least, and then the other game he's going to at least get a 30-minute cameo or something like that. So, and in 30 minutes he can do a lot of damage, as he's shown in the past. So he is someone that I'm really considering for the double game week. I might just save the transfer for game week 24 and bring him in myself there. But he's someone that is definitely someone you can consider, especially once Fernandes is done now playing Southampton this game week and then Brighton next game week. He has some slightly tougher fixtures, I guess. So yeah, you could consider Gakpo for your squad, but Palmer, Salah and Gordon are just nailed in the squad, and then you kind of want to have a cheaper midfielder as well to fit in more expensive players elsewhere. So I think it's just that 5th midfielder spot could be Jota's, but for now I still think Bruno Fernandes is a slightly better and more consistent pick. So especially since he has Gabriel, or Jota is not even in the starting lineup. But yeah, the final player that I want to mention is Gabriel Magalhaes, who I didn't have in the squad. Didn't get the goal or the assist against Spurs, but he definitely was a major contributor to that being a goal for Arsenal and turning that game around. He's such a catalyst for Arsenal, and it's just a really good player. And Arsenal actually have some decent fixtures. Like, they are sort of being mocked currently for going out of the cup and stuff. Both cups, it seems like. They went out of the FA Cup against Man United. It seems like they're going to go out of the League Cup as well, being down 2-0 against Newcastle after the home game, playing at St James's Park, trying to get to the final there. But Arsenal are still a really good team. They are 2nd place in the table. They are 4 points behind Liverpool with 1 game to spare, obviously, for Liverpool. But they are still a really good team, especially defensively. So Gabriel, especially also with the attacking contributions that he can have, it's pretty tough to leave him out of the squad. But currently, I think Konaté just takes precedence because he has that double game week. And Hall, Muñoz and Robinson are just really good assets to have as well. So yeah, Gabriel, really want to have him included in the squad, but there's just not enough defender places basically to warrant a place for Gabriel right now. But fixtures are decent-ish for Arsenal. I don't mind them, and we know how good Gabriel is, even for a price of 6-point-something million. He's 6.3, I think, he's still a really, really good player, basically. But yeah, that is pretty much it. 15 players in the squad, 3 players that have dropped out, and 3 players that I have considered and are potential options that you can consider as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. I am back now making videos full-time after some time off, after breaking my arm right before Christmas. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm doing much better. I now have more mobility in both arms and hands and stuff. So yeah, really happy to see that. And yeah, even though I'm doing worse in FPL, I'm doing better in life with the injury now. Sorta, like, it's still going to be a long rehabilitation period until I get like full movement back, but feeling pretty good now and pretty energized for the rest of the season as well, and making more content for you guys on this channel. So looking forward to that. Subscribe if you want more, if you're not subscribed already. Like the video, that helps with the algorithm and stuff. Comment down below if there's any questions, anything you want to add in terms of the video that I made here, or anything in terms of the channel in general. I'm always happy to get either constructive criticism or praise. That is all well and good to have in the comments section. So yeah, with all that in mind, thank you for watching as always. I'll see you next time, which is going to be tomorrow for the team selection video. Bye bye, with my left hand signing off. My left arm, which is the broken one, luckily not the right arm. But anyways, with that out of the way, thank you for watching. Bye bye, see you next time.